coming out of Angel, what we thought potentially could happen, but it's going to be Fisher back onto the Azir now.
We'll see. The Azir B1 pick here. Going to be extremely valuable for EDG, looking for that scaling, but Cube and XiaoFang immediately just run it back from last game.
Okay, so XiaoFang, that's now 6 games of Ppgod in a row, I think. Maybe, no, he had the game 1 on a different champion, but still, he's had so much presence on this champion, which has really helped OMG snowball through to some skirmish wins.
It certainly has. Let's see if they can keep that running here. It's a very fast draft so far. Both teams knowing exactly what they want for this one. OMG, let's see how they're going to continue this. In fact, just Ezreal again. They're loving the Ezreal. It's weird to see so much Ezreal when there are so many strong AD carries open and available. But in fact, going to change away and go for the play for Angel.
Okay, so no Twist of Fate, no Talia for Angel today. That OMG, they are really falling back to this one tried and tested comp that they have played. Kind of splitting the difference on the games with, though. They've had some great games with it. They've had some awful games that they've fallen behind. Abel not picking up an early Ezreal in this game. That means that's going to get banned out. We'll see whether that one hits it. That's immediately going to be taken away.
It's kind of funny, honestly, to see an Ezreal ban when, like, there's so many AD carries that have been priorities this split. Ezreal is not really one of them, but in this series with Abel playing it, it's been the focus, and deciding not to pick it up, going for the play instead, means it's taken off the board. The Graves removed from the matchup this time around. So XiaoFang still gets his Ppgod, but doesn't have quite the same carry matchup in that jungle.
Yeah, Monkey has played only 2 champions in the LPL in his time so far in 2024, which has been as we see Abel Samira taken away this one. He's played the Brand and he's played the Graves. So now, what is he going to pick up? Does he feel like he wants to go towards that Brand? It is a a low-range top side. Typically, Brand wants to be playing against low-range composition. Would be kind of hard against Abel's Tristana. It's one of his specialty picks too. He's picked this up a lot, even out of meta. In fact, he kind of started the Tristana fad last year in bot lane with Tristana Milio.
I mean, he's played it 3 times this split already. Only the Ezreal overtaking it in his champion pool now, which is partly just because he's played Ezreal twice today. Doubled his amount of Ezreal games this split. But the Brand comes through for Monkey anyway, so sticking to his 2 champions. And finally, the Maokai for Ppgod. So, in fact, look at that. OMG drafted in order. They all drafted their own champion. How often do you see that? It doesn't matter at all, but I get a kick out of it every time.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. Ppgod has himself now a good long-range engaged champion again. It's that melee support plus, because Maokai is just so absurdly broken as a support right now, with that ultimate being so impactful. That'll help screen off the 2 longer-range carries from OMG. Be an engaged factor onto the other team. Feels like Monkey on this Brand will potentially have himself some targets to hit, but he needs to be very careful about how he opens himself up to big combos from the Hui following up. Brand is not a tanky champion.
He's certainly not.
But that really needs to be ahead. OMG are a team which do really well when they're ahead. I want to see bot side pressure. Even this top side matchup, Azir versus Aatrox won't be the most explosive thing ever in the early game. You need to see this bot lane and how that will unfold.
Oh, that guy's going for it.
Yeah, you can hear the crack in the voice.
His throat, honestly, yeah. As, I will say, I've got a little statistic for you.
Yeah.
It's not a great statistic for EDG, but it's a good statistic for us viewers, right?
Yeah.
And that's that EDG, their statistics not fantastic. In most categories, they're right down at the very bottom of the scoreboard. However, there are a couple of categories where they are near the top. The first one is deaths at 15. They are topping that scoreboard with over 4 deaths on average at 15 minutes. Bloodiness as well, which is basically how likely there are to be kills and deaths in the game.
Right.
Second place in the league at 0.8. 0.8 doesn't sound, it's not a very numeric stat really, but the other one that's good for them though is the average game time. They are 6th in the league for average game time, and I think that that's an important statistic that EDG, they play fast. Whether they're winning or losing, it's usually losing, but even when they're winning, they still play fast. And that's what makes this team reasonably entertaining to watch, even when they're not playing so hot. They do still go for plays. You do still get to see action more often than not. And speaking of, Vampire goes for a hook in the bottom lane after shock. Keep him safe as now Abel and Ppgod get their turn. The bone plating propped. That's enough for them. Now looking for Prior once again in that bottom lane.
Really need to get level 2. You really want to get a couple of levels into the Maokai as well. Once you get level 3 on the Maokai, laning phase actually starts to even out a bit because you can add in some ranged poke by using the brushes for the brush saplings. Start shrinking down the other support. He has to tank that hook. Abel, I'm not even sure if he has the explosive shot ready right now. He's been using it on the wave. He's the first one on it anyway. That means that Vampire and the Snake, of course, Vampire's still playing after, of course, he was subbed out for game 1.
Yep.
Maybe look for another hook here.
Oh boy, Ppgod just having a terrible time. Terrible game in game 2 on the Alistair. He had such a good game 1, but
yeah,
it seems to have got away from him.
Didn't know that trees could bleed, but Vampire feeds on him all the same. First kill. And Ppgod, yeah, this is two sides of him. Two sides of this bot lane. Abel and Ppgod have forever been this duo which will snowball the heck out of the game or just kind of fall apart. We've seen both of those kind of games from Ppgod today in particular, and it is now quite worrying for OMG on the 10th anniversary of this matchup against EDG. Their bot lane is not playing to the level that they would really like.
I will say, AL right now are rubbing their hands in glee. Maybe they won't be the only team. But Monkey has overstayed his welcome here. Invaded onto the Krugs, but Cube's here to punish, as well as XiaoFang, just way overstepping the mark.
Monkey. He's just in the enemy jungle! I've been wanting to do that.
I thought it was a PG Tips advert for a second there.
You know that one clip from Kung Fu Panda? It's just Master Oogway just talking about Monkey. I feel like there are a lot of ways we can now bring that kind of back in if Monkey is playing more regularly for the team. Anyway, he's just in the enemy jungle, gets caught out, and then suddenly, after the great work by this bot side, OMG find a kill on top side. It's not the most impactful kill to give to an Udyr. I don't think it's going to flip the matchup particularly, but still, a death for Monkey in this early game. Starting to rack up towards those stats which you were saying EDG have in terms of deaths at 15.
Yeah. I would love to get Johnny Vegas in to cast one of these Monkey games. That would be truly exceptional. Another hook onto Ppgod. He's got no flash. He's stunned up. He's burnt up. And they may not bleed, but trees certainly do burn. The Snake grab in and kill that time.
Yeah, it ain't looking so good for Ppgod fans. The Church of Ppgod might have been in session last year for OMG. What felt like such a magical year for them, despite not getting quite the results they wanted. This year, it has been much harder to come by, and Ppgod, he sadly gets thrown a bit under the bus by Abel, who dodges out on the hook. He could buffer out of that jump potentially, but still, really awkward moment now for this bot lane for OMG.
A really tough one. As, you know, Cube did get the kill early on, at least they were able to punish Monkey, but right now, this doesn't necessarily feel like a really great win in the laning phase from EDG. It more feels like Ppgod kind of having a really tough time in these last couple of games. I just don't know what happened, because it's game number 1. Fantastic.
Now, I know this is my second year in the LPL, and I might not be as veteran as some others, but I've learned to not think on such things. For one, my own sanity, and two, because it just feels like this endless question for so many players in terms of sometimes they just try and outplay to get an extra minion's worth of XP, because, in fact, there's a really interesting conversation about how, going back to like slightly more normal stuff, about how language affects the way that we see the game, because in Chinese kind of like league terminology, there are a couple of phrases which just says, it's a bad play, but we'll try and outplay it. I think that can affect the mindset a little bit too, in terms of, look, we probably shouldn't walk up to the wave here, but if we do, it's kind of good. It kind of just ends up being an awkward moment, though, as they're really far behind in this lane now.
Yeah. I don't know how much you can outplay as a level 1 Maokai, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know.
But we could have found out, Joe. We could have found out.
Language. But there we go. Maybe I'm just short-sighted, you know. But I'm not. It was an astigmatism. But I had laser eyes, so not anymore. Take that, biology. Here we go.
You know the early game is really all over the place when we're talking about laser eye surgery and the nature of the Chinese language and how it relates to League of Legends. I mean, that was slightly more relevant, but we'll try and see whether Ppgod can stop this death spiral. He's trying to block these hooks so Abel doesn't have to tank them. But the problem is now, I actually think that Abel has to tank some of these hooks and buffer out of them. It can be a little bit of a weird timing, but It's better than Ppgod with no flash, tanking it and just dying for free.
Yeah. I feel like you're probably fine as Abel. He is almost 20 CS down
Monkey.
at this point. Monkey's caught, does flash away to safety, but Ppgod's here. A little bit of redemption for him as Angel grabs a kill twice now. Monkey really oversteps the mark and is punished.
Yeah, it feels like for every kill they get in bot lane, the literal monkey paw closes, and it feels like they trade something back onto the jungler. He's now 0-2. We said he's only played the 2 junglers for EDG so far, the Graves and the Brand. It's been an awkward early game for a very squishy immobile champion.
It really has, and it worries me. It worries me because OMG won game number 1 very convincingly. Abel is going to be fine, I think. Vampire's left the brush. It worries me because in game number 1, we saw Xiaomu getting caught a few times, OMG capitalizing on those mistakes. This time is Monkey getting caught a couple of times, and I was really hyped on the OMG game 1 win. It felt clean, it felt good. It was off the back of a previous series win as well. Now I'm a little bit like, wait, was that just me getting overexcited and actually it was just kind of easy kills taken and snowballed? Because that's a possibility.
It's definitely up there because I feel like both these teams are making a lot of mistakes. Now, in any given game of League of Legends, there are going to be mistakes, but when the game is actually determined by them, it really changes how you feel about the whole kind of way of it. Monkey now, I feel like he has been quite disrespectful in regards to how quickly his lanes can respond to him, particularly on a champion like Brand. You need someone there on immediate, very snappy follow-up. You see that the Snake and Vampire for that first Death and River, or his second one, but the Death and River, they weren't in position to respond. They were in the tower, and that's great because it means that, you know, the enemy bot lane is not responding, but there's no one to actually respond to what Monkey is doing, and now he's been put behind, and a lot of his camps are now respawned. XiaoFang feel like he can walk into the enemy jungle and steal away a blue buff, which is kind of important to Brand. Of course, he likes the cooldown, he likes the mana, or can take with it.
At least he'll be able to get that for himself. As now Vampire rotating up towards this top side. First 3 groups were taken by OMG earlier on in the game. Next one spawning in 40 seconds time. You see, XiaoFang is on the top side of the map. We need Ppgod to roam as well if OMG want any chance of contesting this next lot. And you can see him doing exactly that. Perhaps we'll look for a little bit of vision in EDG's bot side jungle first before moving on over. And this is one of the beautiful things about having an Azir on your team as well, especially when Vampire roams to that mid lane. Easy to just one-shot that wave and get priority for yourselves. As Snake threatening onto Abel, and Abel respects it.
Even enough in gold so far, but it's a very early game. The gold is not often going to be exploding quite by this point. With Grubs coming up though, 3 taken for OMG. Would really like to secure 6. Again, the big thing about Grubs is that they can be quite lacking unless you do get those big buffs, because you really don't want to split them if it's all possible, even if you don't have the split pushes. XiaoFang is on vision. He doesn't know he's on vision though, because the EDG do have the information advantage going towards the top side of the map. They look to deny OMG the full house.
So it should be 3 for 3 here, and as XiaoFang sneak in and get perhaps a smite. Vampire engaging onto Ppgod here, the Q back. XiaoFang tries to threaten the rest of them. Trying to stop any kind of follow-up. The Snake has actually overstepped here. The cleanse comes out though, so he doesn't get caught by the Q as well.
Bit of a weird situation even for me and EDG there, because they were finishing off the Grubs, but then they were also looking for a fight, and it felt very disconnected. XiaoFang manages to escape the Brand combo, while Angel turns around a huge amount of damage. You can see how risky this gets if EDG are not very concise about how they approach these different objectives. XiaoFang has flash, potentially could force onto Fisher in the mid lane.
Angel has flash as well, but Fisher zips on out of the play, and rightly so, will get himself to safety. In the meantime, worth noticing that the Snake has no cleanse, has no ultimate, so if he oversteps, Abel could find a window, but with Monkey and Vampire in the area, you'd hope Abel will play it safe.
Again, I have learned to not think on such things. Abel will do as he does. He's a player of great mental gymnastics sometimes, as his jungle support. Now to join him on this bot side of the map, Cube has built up the Frozen Heart first. Really managed to do much in this laning phase, which you kind of expect. Now Angel!
Fisher going for a play here, knocks Angel back, and he might just get himself solo kill. Flash over the wall. Oh, the fear hits onto Fisher and the Q goes wide. So close. And Angel, massive grin on his face as he walks away from that.
Oh, he is so lucky to get away with that, because Fisher is looking for the timing to punish Angel before he gets a reset in. He would have teleported back into lane with a lot more stats, with full HP as well. Now he can do that. Fisher very nearly missing out on that opportunity. This is a player, of course, who's another rookie to EDG coming in. He was one of the players who was, pretty successful down in regards to like NEST and the Demacia Cups too. He was a great Akali and a Nico player and his Azir as well. He's struggled a bit in the LPL so far, but he's been trying to find his feet. There's a player like Angel as well. He's been holding his own okay. He's definitely brewing that chance to get himself a rare solo kill.
I will say, we keep panning up to this top side to watch the absolute farm fest that is Udyr versus Aatrox. Ala doing a good job to actually have a CS lead in a matchup where he's been permanently pushed underneath the tower. Angel, out of mana, great dash forwards from Fisher. The damage is all good. Unfortunately, didn't have the soldiers. The fear is perfect from Angel, and then the Q ever so slightly out of range.
So a bit of a missed opportunity. I appreciate the attempt. It's the right call to make. I really appreciate that one, but it does mean now neither mid laner has flash for this dragon. How important will that be? Feels like with Nautilus being able to potentially get himself into the fray, and then the Maokai ult as well, those similar spells will be very, very important.
OMG forced away. I like this from EDG, just clearing out behind them, making sure they're not flanked. Ppgod has to use his ult, but caught alone. Great punish here by EDG. I love that they loop back through their jungle and make sure that they're not caught out of position. Ults come through onto Vampire though, and it's support for support in the end. A great hook comes out from XiaoFang. Has this guy been practicing Nautilus or what? Ala caught out now. The ult comes on through, and it's a double kill for Abel.
That's a huge swing for OMG. The Snowball AD carry of the Tristana gets a double kill after some weird switching of sides of the map from both supports. Dragon does go to the side of EDG. That's a win for them in that regards, but OMG getting some gold onto their AD carry, that's important. It now matches the Snake at 2 kills.
XiaoFang, you're in a really awkward spot. No flash, no ultimate. He can't use the Hex Gate either. Flash from the Snake, I'm not sure was quite necessary, but kill guaranteed for Monkey. Either way, Abel crashes yet another wave of the bottom side as he tries to get away. Vampire might try and cut him off here, but the ward, I think, is going to be enough to protect Abel. Maybe they look for a dive, but with Ppgod here, I don't think it's reasonable.
Yeah. Well,
not that that's ever stopped them.
I mean, they're still potentially playing towards a dive here. They are spotted out. Abel will move away from turret. Good news. The stat which you brought up with EDG, 4 deaths average per 15, that's been matched at least, so we're keeping up pace on that one. 4 deaths apiece though, 4 kills. Angel now hunting for Fisher. Has himself no flash.
Bit of damage from the Spiraling Despair, but the Honey Fruit just about patches those wounds up. And let's take another look at this weird fight where OMG behind enemy lines. Good ult from the Snake to start.
It was. I think it's a good position from the Snake to still get some damage over the wall. A bit of a tricksy flank plan for that Dragon from XiaoFang. And now we go back to live as Cube is in a 1v3. Hexgates are making this pretty rough.
Yeah, he is Udyr though, so he's probably fine. He's just going to walk away from that one. I feel like we could have kept going with the replay, to be honest. They should have realized it's an Udyr that they're trying to pick. As, yeah, a bit of a weird one from Vampire in the previous play. Kind of overstepping, and I feel like this has been one of the biggest issues for EDG, is like these rookie supports really overstepping the mark. Even if you think all the way back to EDG versus RNG on day 1. Oh, God. If you think about EDG versus RNG on day 1, as I battle through my point, you remember Vampire kind of overstepping his mark, trying to face check, just end up going down. It's happened a few times. And that time just like out of sync with his team. The rest of his team are backing off. He's going forward, and it opens up for a play for OG.
And the thing is, when you have a jungle support that's new, or they're struggling with a meta or in a current period of form, the whole team starts to go with it, because modern League of Legends, especially in early game and going into mid game, is so much about jungle support. There's a lot of stuff you can do with supports in laning phase, obviously with Raw 2v2, but particularly now with melee supports back on the table, where you need to be on the map and making plays. It can sometimes be quite invisible when a support isn't doing well. But because you don't make those plays, which are really important that you do. And then obviously when it's visibly going wrong, it's even worse because you've made the plays and it's setting your team behind. It really affects everyone because your lanes can't do the same thing. We do have supports roaming up towards this Herald though, but there's a fight potentially towards top side as Cube is fighting against Ppgod.
Ppgod has his ultimate to start this fight off, but Herald... Oh, I thought XiaoFang was going to get the drive-by smite here. All in from both sides. OMG Able is just hammering away. Vampire to go down. XiaoFang with his first reset of this fight. Looks for the hook, but just hits the wall. Dashes away, gets himself alive. Able still alive here. Finally goes down as Ppgod knocks Monkey back, and it's Angel to carry. Spiraling despair as Fisher wants to answer in kind, but XiaoFang's still going, and Cube's chasing down the bird. The Phoenix is the better bird this time around.
OMG walk away from another scrappy fight in this series with the advantage. EDG pull back a pretty decent halfway fight where Fisher gets a sweep onto the carries, but OMG get the damage done. The resets come through from XiaoFang. This Ppgod, which has been coming back in force in the LPL, is starting to really rear its head in some of these more scrappy games. Munchables, very, very powerful when it's on the table, even from the support role. Pin someone down for able to absolutely blitz them, which allows you to get the first reset of the fight. Means that XiaoFang survives a lot longer than you realistically should do, and buys up a lot of Tala's time. Fisher does manage to get some good damage done on the back end of this, which turns it back around, but still, the resets from OMG are really powerful.
I just can't believe that Able is the one to get the kill onto the snake there, knocked towards him by Fisher, and then just dive bombs onto the enemy AD carry before he's taken out. Fantastic bit of play there from OMG. And now we're what, like 2,500 gold up for OMG. EDG want to fight for this Drake.
No.
Cube just charges on in. Vampire. I mean, we thought Ppgod was having a terrible series, but Vampire's showing him how it's done. That's going to be 2 for OMG.
Yeah, this Vampire is not the cool and dangerous kind, it's the kind which sparkles, and it's the kind which is dead. Died in that bot side, staked through the heart once more. Fisher's now caught out, no flash, might have to ult XiaoFang away, but he's trying to play the mind game with the ult, doesn't quite get it.
Perhaps it'll lead to a strong character acting career.
Maybe he can come back as
the lighthouse.
Maybe he can come back as the Batman. He was pretty good there. EDG has signed new support from the Batman. He has to speak like this.
I just hope that you don't have to watch the film twice to even understand what's happening. That's the only thing. Yeah, EDG. It's a tough look right now. It's a tough look. 3,000 gold lead for OMG. It's certainly not insurmountable. They've got scaling in Azir and Varus. It's winnable, but certainly not won. OMG with the advantage, and feels like Able getting a lot of this gold is a bit scary for EDG.
This hook forward is not great. I get that you're trying to CC someone into the Brand combo. If you can get a good CC chain with the Varus and the Brand there, that makes a lot of sense, but you are not in a position to fight this front line right now of OMG. EDG, they win a rare game in this series. It's going to take a bit more effort, though, to come back to even keel in Game 3 before OMG blast their heads off with a really big snowball inbound.
Yeah. I understand his username now, though.
Yeah?
Because he is sucking the lifeblood out of EDG.
Ooh.
This has been brutal to watch. I feel like I'm being a bit mean to Vampire, but equally, you know, he's at alpha split at this point. Like, these kind of mistakes can't really be happening in the LPL, especially when you're on an organization like EDG. I know a lot of the fans not enjoying this split. Can't say I'm that surprised as complete darkness starts to ensue from the side of OMG. The blackout on the Baron area. They could potentially just start this objective off.
Yeah, they do have double AD carry. Well, not double AD carry. They have the AD carry, decent DPS from Hue as well, and also Ppgod pretty okay, particularly with his Q passive taking down Baron as well. Their Baron speed is pretty fast. I think they just want to make sure that they can control vision first, maybe look for a fight beforehand. Fisher, still no flash.
Fisher steps forward, gets stunned up, and taken down. Ppgod actually wants to get a kill. I'm not even sure how, to be honest. As Vampire slowed up and will finished off as well. The snake caught out. Great punishment from OMG. Seeing the EDG have overstepped their bounds and immediately pouncing.
That's what they were looking for. No need to start the Baron if you know the EDG are going to slip up or look for a fight anyway. XiaoFang feels like he's a main of every champion he's picking up with the Ppgod. He's had some really good plays as he's picked up the souls of EDG's fallen bodies. Now he's going to come through, take this Baron as well. OMG, this should really be the death blow for this game. EDG, the comeback opportunity now is realistically very slim. You can see how difficult it is to even walk up into side lanes. Fisher just trying to get some gold from somewhere. His team's on the top side of the map. This is not the first time that EDG have tried to push up in a lane and just realized, oh, I've got friends on the same side of the map, but it's not close enough to actually respond. And in this case, it's absolutely not close enough to save the fight. The resets start to come beyond this point, particularly with XiaoFang using the extra mobility of the ult over walls, use the Azir glide too. It's so hard to escape once you've given up that first kill.
It certainly is. And control for OMG. No two ways about it at this point. 6,000 gold lead and Baron to boot. With this Tristana, they are going to shred towers. And not to mention the fact that Angel having a very cushy game on this way. The fact he's not even died just yet. Able to smash out so much damage during these fights. The ults have been consistently hitting as well. It feels like Hui is one of those champions where you really notice when the ult misses. You see the projectile just sail off into the distance. So far, so good on those ults here from Angel.
He's actually had some really good damage in the two games where it's looked better for OMG. The second game, it felt like it was a bit nullified by the Karma shields, and when he started falling behind, that became a really big issue. Now we've got the Baron, Maokai push. We've seen there's an awful lot. Throwing out the ult, using it to bomb down the tower potentially, and there's the ult you're talking about.
Big damage, big damage. Monkey almost goes down, and that means that Ala suddenly alone on the play with his team, forced out of this one. Theoretically, should be the tier 2 on this next wave. Another Tristana bomb would probably finish the job, and I think EDG would be suicidal to stick around and try and defend this one. So nicely done by OMG. And if you think back to game number 1 of the series, this is what they did. They slowly but surely took the map apart, especially once they got that Baron able to break into the base. This time around, they hadn't done as much preemptive damage to these tier 2s, so won't be able to necessarily get an inhib off of the Baron, but still pushing their way forward.
OMG playing quite respectfully with their lead, actually. It's pretty easy to do so when you have the Maokai. Again, it's very set play. You throw in a Maokai under tower. It makes it really easy to go either kill people stood underneath it or get them to back off and kill the tower itself. They almost do both, actually. So OMG walk away. They get to spend all of that gold they just got from that Baron push as well. 2.5k up from that play. They're at 3 items on their carries, and Ala's 4 out, and this ain't looking any better for them.
Hey, certainly not. As Ala should go down here. XiaoFang actually even going to commit the ultimate just to finish the job, but he can't finish the job. Unfortunate. Not the end of the world, though. Ala walks away with his life. This will be Drake anyway for OMG. They can just walk over and grab that one as Cube clears the way over the top side. EDG trying to make some kind of pick happen on the top jungle, but it's not going to happen. It's a little bit like Fetch, as Cube could be in trouble. Maybe they can dive. I don't know.
It's a
they might be able to just trade
here
for a tier 2, though.
I think he's just going to throw his ult on the wave. Next time he has that cooldown up, he'll clear through the wave. So it's going to be an objective bounty, which is some gold in pocket, inner turret gold as well. Not too shabby, claw something back, but it means that they now have to kind of hot-foot it back towards their base. They're going to have a Tristana bomb put onto the tower. It really doesn't feel like they can even do like a wraparound teleport to punish a push from OMG. They've stuck around a long time on this top side, and now they're potentially losing their mid-inhib as well.
Yeah, Cube and Ppgod just playing to stop the ports. They reckon they're FPX at this point. As mid-inhib taken down now. I just want to quickly point out, before the game ends and I run out of time, Ppgod has gone Zarzax, by the way, on the Maokai.
I did notice that,
I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've seen it. Like, usually you get the tank Maokai. Odd one, but, you know, he's doing some damage. That's how he got the kill onto,
that's the one.
I think it was Monkey earlier on in the game.
Dude, it'll affect the ultimate, it'll affect the saplings. It's not awful. Gives you a little bit of extra proc damage on top of things as well. Bomb on tower. You kind of forget this about Tristana. When you put it on the tower, it does a heck of a lot. Chucks a couple of people down. Here's the flank teleport. It's the Hail Mary, but Ala doesn't have flash. It's really hard to pull this off.
All or nothing. Cube has his own TP available, but they're not going to use it. Don't even feel like it's necessary. They call the bluff of EDG, and that means this Mondo wave on the top side is going to crash.
This is really quite difficult here from EDG. Now, Ala lost that flash in the last play, which makes those flanks really hard to force. It means it's much harder to get himself into position to assassinate someone, and EDG, with that teleport gone, they are, well, they were already out of most options. Now it feels like the last few just kind of slipping through their fingers.
Tough game for EDG, that is for sure. as OMG just continue to snowball. It's good to see, though, like, again, OMG, when they do get the lead, they're quite good at closing the game out. Like, they're pretty good at finishing the job. It's just whether or not they get that lead in the first place is a little bit of a coin flip.
Oh, are these Hex Gates going to lead to a fight? Oh, this is not looking good from EDG. That's the Maokai ult.
Alan and Vampire both in big old trouble on this one. Vampire too far back to actually get caught by the Maokai ult. Oh, that Spiraling Despair Monkey is in danger, and Fish has walked into him. Oh god, they both walk away, but only just. As now the top tier 2 in trouble. The Super Minions are pushing in the mid lane. EDG got to try and weather the storm on all fronts.
Yeah, they're still just getting pushed back into their own side of the map. They managed to get 1 or 2 wards down. That's what Vampire was doing on the top side of the map. But these Hex Gates are making it really, really hard to walk into safety. Baron's coming up in the next minute. We've got, you know, Dragon at some point coming onto the table too, which EDG, I mean, they can give up 1 and it wouldn't be the end of the game, but they're just going to be bleeding out. They're not even going to be able to get access to many of their own jungle camps. That's something which is often overlooked when people are behind in games, because that's a lot of gold. If you lose 2 or 3 jungle camps, it's a couple of hundred gold swing every time that happens. OMG intent now on keeping EDG pushed back to their side of the map.
G will be able to clear the wave, so EDG can't threaten that mid inhib. You see the mentality shift here for OMG. Banshee's picked up for Angel. The Hex String, or more Malmortius picked up for Abel as well. Similar to his Ezreal build with the Frozen Heart. Does not want to die, does not want to be at risk of throwing the game, and that feels like the OMG strategy right now. Get a lead, do not throw. 5k on the Baron as EDG try and move in. Hook onto Q, but he's pretty damn hard to kill at this point. 1 for 1, you'll take that as EDG as a start for the fight, but can Ala survive? The sustain is huge. Ppgod has gone down. Fisher is still going strong in the fight, but XiaoFang dodges the damage. In the meantime, Abel popping off. Fisher with a triple kill, but that's all he'll find. Angel and Abel, the defensive items work out in the end.
Abel goes full Mario mode and Goomba stomps his way through 3 members on the backside, and yeah, honestly, the defensive items kind of helped him because he face-tanked a lot of damage from the Brand to do it, but it will see them through to a series victory to bring them to 5 and 4.
Great stuff from OMG. In the end, they get across the finish line and they take this series, showing that they will not be another AL. They will not lose to a team this far down in the standings. That's their 5th victory now. And OMG, I believe, on a 3-win streak as well. Solid performances, not a perfect series by any means, but great when it comes to snowballing a victory.
And, we've come an awfully long way since the first matchup between these 2 teams a little under 10 years ago. The first time they met in 2014 LPL Spring. Now these teams are a long way off of the heights they were at that year, and ever since then, the teams have been on very different trajectories all over the time. G picked up international titles, and now they find themselves in a very, very difficult situation. Probably the weakest they've been of all time. OMG, they're trying to rebuild from their own year. Wins like this, it helps bring some wind into their sails, but there's a lot to address still. At least, they are a team which is attempting to play the game faster. They're trying to take the game by the reins and speed things up. That's something which the LPL desperately needs. Even if they're not going to succeed at it all the time, it shows the LPL that it can be done. Between them and, of course, FPX, we probably have a bit more faith and confidence in from